The lawyer's office smelled like old books and betrayal. I sat at the far end of the mahogany table, gripping Robert's wedding ring so hard it left marks on my palm. My husband had been gone 3 weeks, and I still couldn't breathe right. Across from me sat his children, Caleb and Victoria, looking perfect in their expensive black suits. Caleb's mother, Denise, perched beside him like a vulture, her red nails gleaming. The lawyer cleared his throat. The last will and testament of Robert Cole. He read through properties, accounts, the family business, Cole Financial Group, everything I'd helped build for 20 years. Then he paused. And to my beloved wife, Margaret Cole, I leave my gratitude and personal effects. The words hit like a punch. My chest squeezed tight. That was it. After 2 decades of late nights, saving the company from bankruptcy, holding Robert through his darkest days. No, I whispered. That's wrong. Caleb's voice was ice. It's not. Dad made his choice. Denise smiled. He wanted things to stay in the family. I stood, legs shaking. I am family. Were, Caleb corrected. I grabbed my purse and walked out, their laughter following me down the hall. The next morning, I drove to Cole Financial on autopilot. The marble lobby felt foreign suddenly, though I'd walked these floors for years. The receptionist looked startled. Mrs. Cole, I thought you'd retired. Retired, my voice cracked. Who told you that? Before she could answer, Caleb stepped out of the elevator, adjusting his watch. Denise clicked along beside him in designer heels. What are you doing here? Caleb asked, blocking my path. This is my company too. I built this with Robert. Was yours, he interrupted. Dad's gone. Time to move forward. You can collect your things, but please don't make a scene. Denise smirked. We already replaced your name on the boardroom plaque. I looked at the wall. My name was gone. In its place, Caleb J. Cole, Managing Director. My knees went weak, but I wouldn't let them see me cry. I turned and walked out slowly, chin high. In my car, I stared at my reflection. The woman looking back seemed small, exhausted, defeated. But underneath the hurt, something else stirred. A quiet, burning anger. They thought I'd disappear quietly. They were so wrong. I spent a week hiding in my house, replaying everything. The funeral, the will reading, Caleb's smug face. Every memory felt like a wound that wouldn't close. Then Lisa knocked on my door. She'd been my assistant for 5 years, and now she stood there holding a flash drive, looking nervous. I shouldn't be here, she said quietly, but you need to see this. Inside, she handed me the drive. They're using your work, Margaret. Your strategies, your client relationships, everything. And they're making dangerous decisions you specifically warned against. After she left, I plugged in the drive with shaking hands. Spreadsheets, emails, meeting notes. And there, Havorson Holdings, my biggest client, the one I'd personally managed for 8 years. My pulse quickened. They kept my clients but cut me from the will. One email from Denise to Caleb made my blood boil. Once Margaret's gone, we'll tell Havorson she retired. Assign someone junior. Money doesn't have emotions. I stared at those words. Money doesn't have emotions. Maybe not, but I did, and I was done being quiet. 2 days later, I sat in Walter Havorson's study. He was 76, sharp-eyed, and had always treated me with respect. Margaret, he poured tea carefully. I heard about Robert. I'm truly sorry. Thank you, I met his eyes. There's more, Walter. I wasn't included in his will. His children took everything, including the company, and they're mismanaging accounts, including yours. He leaned back, studying me. Continue. I opened my laptop and showed him everything. The risky trades, the hidden fees, the complete disregard for his investment strategy. He exhaled slowly. They thought they could remove you and keep me. I nodded. I'm starting my own firm. I want to keep managing your portfolio, honestly, transparently, independently. Walter smiled. I've been waiting for you to fight back. You have my account, and I'll invest in your new firm. My throat tightened. Walter, that's justice, he said firmly. You built that company, now build one with your name on it. I left his house feeling lighter than I had in months. The world hadn't ended. It was just beginning again. I found a small office above a bookstore downtown. The paint was peeling, the desk second-hand, but it was mine. I named it Coleman Strategies, my maiden name, a fresh start. Walter moved his account over immediately. Within days, 2 more longtime clients called. "Margaret, if you're opening your own firm, we're coming with you." Word spread quietly through the financial community. Margaret Cole was back. Meanwhile, at Cole Financial, Caleb discovered Haverson had withdrawn. His face went white when he found out where the account went. Denise tried to downplay it. "She's 56, she can't compete with us." But Caleb knew better. His stepmother wasn't playing games. She was rebuilding. And this time, she wasn't sharing her empire with anyone. I hired Lisa first, then Jordan, a sharp young analyst. We worked long hours, fueled by coffee and determination. One evening, Lisa showed me an article. Cole Financial faces client exodus amid internal turmoil. I read it silently. Every word confirmed what I suspected. They were cracking. "Are we ready for attention?" Lisa asked nervously. I smiled. "We don't chase noise, we build trust." A week later, 3 former Cole Financial clients arrived at my office. They were frustrated, ignored, pushed into risky investments they'd never agreed to. "We remember when you handled our accounts personally," Mr. Dawes said. "The firm hasn't been the same since you left." I listened carefully, asked questions, explained my approach. By the end, they signed with me. After they left, I stood by the window watching autumn leaves swirl. For the first time in months, I felt steady. Meanwhile, Caleb received another withdrawal notice. Then another. Denise's patience snapped. "Do something. This is your father's company." "She won't stop until she destroys us," he said bitterly. But he was wrong. I didn't want destruction. I wanted redemption, and I was earning it one honest deal at a time. Within weeks, whispers began spreading. Margaret's firm was unstable. Her methods were outdated. Her main client was too old. Lisa heard it from a broker. "They're trying to ruin your reputation." I sighed. Insecure people fight dirty, but our numbers speak louder than gossip. Still, the rumors stung. At networking events, smiles didn't reach eyes. Conversations stopped when I approached. That night, Walter called. "Heard the nonsense going around. I've seen your quarterly results. Clean, steady, smart. You have my full backing." I smiled. "Thank you." "Walter." "Don't thank me. Just keep being better than them. Success silences liars." By month's end, Coleman Strategies reported 43% growth. The smear campaign backfired completely. At Cole Financial, chaos ruled. Denise's high-yield strategy crashed when markets dipped. Clients panicked. Victoria tried spinning it publicly, but reporters dug for truth. In the boardroom, Caleb shouted at his team. "How are we losing accounts this fast?" A junior manager hesitated. Most moved to Mrs. Coleman's firm. Caleb's face went pale. Denise muttered, "She's doing this on purpose." Victoria snapped back. "She's just doing her job better than you." That night, Caleb sat in his father's old office, finding a binder labeled Client Retention Framework, Margaret Cole. Her handwriting covered every page. Personal notes, strategies, reminders to check on clients individually. He realized she wasn't destroying him. He was destroying himself. But pride wouldn't let him admit it. Instead, he vowed to strike back. A cease and desist letter arrived at my office. Caleb accused me of poaching clients and violating non-compete clauses. Lisa nearly dropped her coffee. "Can they do that?" I read calmly. "I never signed a non-compete. I was a partner, not an employee." Walter's legal team stepped in immediately. "They're bluffing. Don't let them shake you." Days later, the story hit the papers. Cole Financial sues former partner in bitter corporate feud. My phone rang constantly with reporters. I refused to speak ill of anyone. My statement was simple. I respect the legacy Robert and I built. My goal is serving clients with honesty and care. My grace under fire made headlines. The community rallied. More clients quietly transferred accounts. Caleb watched the backlash turn against him. His attempt to ruin me backfired again. Denise glared. "You're making her look like the hero." His reply was bitter. "Maybe that's because she is." By December, Eleanor Briggs, a financial journalist, sat across from me. "You've been too quiet, Margaret. Let me help tell your side." I hesitated, then agreed. No mention of the lawsuit, just the work. The article published. Integrity in an Age of Greed. How one woman built trust the old-fashioned way. Clients loved it. The public respected my restraint. Even rival firms praised my quiet strength. But Caleb slammed the newspaper down. "She's polishing her image while I'm being dragged through mud." Denise rolled her eyes. "You sued her, you started this." "Then I'll finish it," he snapped. Just before Christmas, Lisa burst in breathless. "Someone leaked fake documents online, claims we mishandled a portfolio." I stared at manipulated spreadsheets showing losses that never happened. The client didn't even exist. "They're framing us," I whispered. Within hours, anxious emails flooded in. Clients demanded explanations. Walter called that evening. "I know the truth, sit tight." By morning, the blog retracted everything after Walter's legal team threatened defamation charges. But damage lingered. Rumors spread faster than truth. I sat staring at the skyline, anger simmering beneath professionalism. "If they want to play dirty," I whispered, "they'll learn what happens when decency fights back with facts." In January, the Securities Oversight Commission requested a routine audit of my firm. Lisa frowned. "That's convenient timing." "Someone filed a complaint," I said quietly. Auditors arrived, 2 men in suits, polite but probing. They combed through everything for days. On the 5th day, one auditor lingered. "Between you and me, we've had 3 anonymous tips about your firm. Same sender emails traced to Cole Financial's domain." My heart raced. "You're certain?" He nodded. "Completely." They weren't just trying to ruin my reputation. They wanted to crush me entirely. But instead of breaking, I began planning. I'd fight by their rules and win. I quietly gathered evidence. Every false claim. Every client testimonial contradicting their rumors. Then I called Greg Hastings, a trusted contact in compliance who'd worked with Robert years ago. He listened silently. Finally, "Funny thing, Cole Financial's under review too. Irregularities in investment practices." "Irregularities?" I asked. "High-risk trades with client money. Questionable bonuses to board members." A slow smile spread across my face. I didn't need revenge. Their greed was doing it for me. 2 weeks later, I got the call. The Oversight Commission was launching a formal investigation into Cole Financial. I sat in quiet satisfaction. Justice was circling back. When the investigation notice hit Caleb's desk, chaos erupted. Victoria stormed in waving the letter. "An investigation? What did you do?" "Nothing illegal," he shouted, voice cracking. Denise hissed, "You said those trades were safe." Victoria's eyes went wide. "Dad's name is still on this company. Do you realize what happens if they find mismanagement under his legacy?" Caleb stared at the paper, the words "formal inquiry" blurring. That night the siblings met privately. Victoria begged him to step down. He refused. Denise threatened to leave. The family unity that once shut me out was now devouring itself. Meanwhile, I sat by my window watching snow fall, not celebrating their pain but recognizing the poetic symmetry. I'd been stripped of everything unjustly. Now truth itself was stripping away their illusions. For the first time since Robert's death, I slept peacefully. This story wasn't over. It was only beginning to turn. The Cole Financial building lost its confident shine. Employees whispered in hallways. Compliance officers came and went carrying files. Greg called one morning. The commission found preliminary inconsistencies. Client funds moved without authorization. Bonuses logged as miscellaneous expenses. It's looking bad. Will clients be notified? I asked. Within the week. That afternoon, I walked the park trail near my office. The wind was biting, full of tension and memory. I thought of Robert, his patience, his insistence that integrity outlasts every storm. You were right, Robert, I murmured. Truth takes its time. I didn't feel victorious. I felt vindicated. By February, 3 major clients withdrew from Cole Financial in 1 week. News outlets circled. Reporters waited outside the building. Inside, Caleb was losing control. Papers scattered everywhere. Empty coffee cups littered the floor. Denise grew cold and distant. I told you this expansion was reckless. You were too obsessed with beating her. Don't say her name, he snapped. Margaret, Denise said deliberately. You tried to ruin her. Now your mess is ruining us. He slammed his fist down. She got lucky. No, Denise said softly. She got smart. The next morning, the company's chief compliance officer resigned. Within hours, news broke. Cole Financial under federal review for misuse of client assets. That headline traveled like lightning. My phone buzzed nonstop, former clients apologizing for doubting me. Then one email stood out. From Walter Havorson, subject, let's talk about the future. We met at a quiet cafe overlooking the skyline. He looked tired but composed. Margaret, I've been approached by several of Cole's former clients. They're scared. They want out. They trust only you. I stirred my tea. You think I should take them on? I think you've earned it, he said. And I have a proposal. My firm's restructuring. We're looking for a strategic partner. You'd have autonomy and resources you could never get alone. A merger, I asked. An alliance, Walter replied. Built on reputation and results, not legacy and entitlement. It was everything I'd dreamed of, but doubt flickered. Would it look like I'm taking advantage of their downfall? Walter met my gaze evenly. You didn't destroy them. They destroyed themselves. You just endured. I exhaled slowly. Then let's build something honest. We shook hands. The deal was quiet, graceful, and would shift the city's entire financial landscape. 2 weeks later, an anonymous whistleblower leaked internal emails from Cole Financial. Documents showed Caleb had approved high-risk trades using client funds to cover personal losses. Victoria had falsified quarterly reports. The story hit financial networks like a bomb. Lisa burst into my office waving her phone. It's everywhere, the emails, the false reports. They're finished. My eyes flickered between sorrow and relief. It wasn't supposed to go this far. Lisa frowned. They tried to destroy you. Don't pity them. I stood by the window. I don't pity them. I pity what they became. By evening, Cole Financial's stock plummeted. Employees resigned in waves. The board announced Caleb's indefinite leave. Victoria went silent. The empire Robert built on trust had been devoured by greed. In its ruins, my firm was thriving, fueled not by vengeance but respect. Late one night, my phone rang. Caleb Cole. I debated ignoring it, but something, curiosity, perhaps compassion, made me answer. Margaret, his voice cracked. They're gone, the firm, the clients, everything. I said nothing. I didn't want this, he continued. I just wanted what I thought was mine. My tone stayed calm but firm. You wanted control, Caleb, but you can't own what you never earned. Silence hung heavy. Finally, he whispered, I guess you won. No, I said softly. I survived, that's different. I ended the call. For a long while, I sat staring at city lights. I didn't feel triumphant, just complete. The story had circled back to where it began, but I was no longer the woman cut from a will. I was someone stronger, someone free. 2 months later, I received a formal letter from Robert's attorney. An invitation to a posthumous estate review, delayed due to family disputes. I hesitated. What more could there be? But curiosity drew me to the old brick law office. Attorney Paul Simmons greeted me warmly. Mrs. Cole, thank you for coming. We discovered something during a secondary audit. He handed me a thick envelope. Your husband left a codicil, an amendment dated 6 months after the first will. It wasn't included in the public reading because it was stored separately under a restricted clause. I frowned. What does it say? Paul smiled faintly. It awards controlling interest of his largest client account, Havorson Manufacturing, to you, effective upon any proven act of malfeasance by Cole Financial's leadership. My breath caught. You mean? He nodded. Given the findings against Caleb and Victoria, the clause activated automatically. That account transfers to you as of last week. I sat back stunned. Robert hadn't forgotten me. He'd protected me from beyond the grave, quietly, elegantly. Tears blurred my vision, but they weren't tears of pain. They were pride, gratitude, poetic justice. The next morning, Victoria appeared unannounced at my firm. Her designer coat was immaculate, but her eyes were hollow. "Congratulations," she said bitterly. "You won." I looked up from paperwork. "I didn't win, Victoria. I just refused to lose myself." Her lip trembled. "You think you're righteous. You took everything. My home, my reputation, Caleb's in hiding." "Your reputation collapsed because of your actions," I replied calmly. "You forged reports, Victoria. You let greed speak louder than truth." Her eyes flashed. "You always thought you were better than us, but you're just a bitter old woman who got lucky." I stood slowly. "Luck didn't build what I have now. Integrity did. You should try it sometime." Silence stretched between us. Finally, Victoria exhaled shakily. "You'll regret this. Clients will turn on you next." I smiled faintly. "Maybe, but I'll face them with honesty, not lies." Victoria's mask cracked. For a brief moment, her arrogance slipped, replaced by the realization she had no one left to blame. She turned and left without another word. When the door shut, I sat again, heart pounding. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even relieved. I just felt finished. Spring arrived early. My firm, now merged with Havorson's operations, flourished quietly but steadily. One afternoon, Denise visited. She looked smaller, aged by months of scandal. She sat across from me, hands trembling. I wanted to say, "I'm sorry." I blinked. "For what?" "For not standing up for you," she said, voice breaking. "I knew what they were doing. I didn't agree, but I didn't stop them. And now, Caleb's bankrupt, Victoria's hiding, and everything's ruined." My throat tightened. "We all make choices, Denise. What matters is what we do afterward." She nodded slowly. "You were always the better woman, Margaret. Robert saw that." They sat together for a long time. Two women who'd once shared laughter and Sunday dinners, now bound by loss and regret. When Denise left, I stepped outside, watching the city move with new energy. Forgiveness, quiet and unannounced, was the final step. I didn't need their ruin anymore. I had my peace. A journalist from the Herald Tribune requested an exclusive interview about the Cole financial collapse. During the interview, the reporter asked, "If you could say one thing to your family now, what would it be?" I thought carefully. That family isn't blood, it's loyalty. It's who stands beside you when you have nothing left. They forgot that. "And do you consider what happened justice?" I smiled faintly. "No, justice is what the law delivers. What I have is peace. That's rarer." The article went viral, titled, "The Woman Who Inherited Integrity." Viewers nationwide flooded comments with praise, sharing their own stories of betrayal, resilience, and rebirth. I didn't read them all, but one caught my eye. This story made me believe that sometimes losing everything is how you find out what really matters. I smiled quietly. That night I slept soundly. Summer sunlight streamed through tall oak trees in my backyard. I knelt beside the roses I'd planted after Robert's death, delicate yellow blooms now flourishing. Lisa joined me with 2 mugs of coffee. Hard to believe it's been a year since all that chaos. I nodded, gently pruning a stem. "It feels like a different life now." Lisa smiled. "You built something good, Margaret. Robert would be proud." I looked up at the blue sky. "I hope so. He taught me everything that mattered, patience, integrity, and that truth always finds its way home." A light breeze passed through the garden. In the distance, a delivery truck rolled by with the Havorson logo, a quiet reminder of the legacy I now carried forward. I took a deep breath, heart steady, spirit light. Funny, I murmured. They thought cutting me out would end me, but it just cleared my path. Lisa laughed softly. So what now? I smiled. Now I live, and I let the past stay buried. My firm continued growing steadily. We took on new clients, people who valued honesty over flash, substance over style. One morning, Jordan rushed in with news. Mrs. Coleman, we just got approached by Redmond Industries. They want us to manage their entire investment portfolio. I raised my eyebrows. That's a major account. Huge, Lisa agreed, and they specifically asked for you. I reviewed their proposal carefully. Redmond Industries had been with Cole Financial for years. Now they wanted out, and they wanted me. I called their CEO that afternoon. Why the switch? He was direct. We stayed with Cole Financial out of loyalty to Robert, but after everything that came out, the mismanagement, the fraud, we couldn't stay. We need someone we can trust. That's you, Margaret. My chest swelled with quiet pride. Then let's build that trust together. When I hung up, Lisa and Jordan were grinning. This is it, Lisa said. This is how we show everyone what real success looks like. I nodded, not with noise, with results. That evening, I sat in my office after everyone left. The city lights twinkled beyond my window. Everything I'd lost had been replaced with something better, something I'd built with my own hands. Robert's voice echoed in my memory. Integrity is the foundation of everything. You were right, I whispered, as always. News of Redmond Industries' move hit the financial press. More clients started calling, former Cole Financial accounts, new businesses, even competitors seeking advice. Walter called me one evening. You've become a bit of a legend, Margaret. I laughed. I'm just doing my job. No, he said seriously. You're showing people that character still matters in this business. That's rare. Within 6 months, Coleman Strategies had tripled in size. We moved to a larger office, still modest but professional and warm. I hired more staff, carefully selecting people who shared my values. No showboaters, no corner cutters, just honest, hardworking professionals. One afternoon, I received a handwritten letter. The return address made my hands shake. It was from Caleb. I almost threw it away, but curiosity won. The letter was short. Margaret, I know I have no right to ask for anything, but I wanted you to know I understand now what I destroyed. It wasn't just the company. It was the integrity Dad built with you. I'm sorry. I hope you find peace. Caleb. I sat with that letter for a long time. Part of me wanted to feel triumphant, but I just felt sad for him, for what could have been, for the family we might have been. I folded the letter carefully and put it in a drawer. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting, but it meant letting go of the anger. A year after opening Coleman Strategies, I stood at a charity gala honoring small business leaders. They'd asked me to speak about rebuilding after loss. I stepped to the podium, looking out at hundreds of faces. My heart pounded, but my voice stayed steady. A year ago, I lost everything, I began. My husband, my inheritance, my company, even my name on a wall. The room was silent. But I learned something. You can't lose what truly defines you. Your character, your skills, your integrity. Those things can't be written out of a will. Applause rippled through the crowd. So if you're facing betrayal, loss, or injustice, remember this. Your value isn't determined by what others give you or take away. It's determined by what you build when no one believes in you anymore. The standing ovation lasted minutes. Afterward, dozens of people approached me, sharing their stories, thanking me for inspiration. As I drove home that night, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Complete peace. Robert's memory lived on, not in a company that bore his name, but in the values he'd taught me. And that was the greatest inheritance of all. 2 years passed. Coleman Strategies became one of the most respected firms in the city. Not the largest, but the most trusted. I never spoke publicly about the Cole family again. The story faded from headlines, replaced by news of my firm's success and philanthropy. One autumn afternoon, I was reviewing quarterly reports when Lisa knocked. "Someone here to see you," she says. "It's personal." Victoria stood in my lobby. She looked different, older, humbler, tired. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said quietly, "but I wanted to apologize in person. What we did was cruel and wrong. I've spent 2 years understanding that." I studied her face. The arrogance was gone, replaced by genuine remorse. "Thank you," I said simply. She nodded, tears in her eyes. "You didn't deserve any of it. I hope someday I can be half as strong as you." After she left, I stood at my window. The woman who'd mocked me, who'd helped steal my inheritance, had just acknowledged the truth. I didn't need her apology, but hearing it brought closure I didn't know I needed. That evening, I donated a significant sum to a scholarship fund in Robert's name, not through Cole Financial, through Coleman Strategies. His legacy would continue, but on my terms, built on the foundation of integrity he'd taught me. Walter Havorson passed away peacefully at 83. At his funeral, I sat in the front row, honored as a close friend and trusted partner. In his will, he left me a personal letter. "Margaret," it read, "you reminded me that true wealth isn't measured in dollars but in character. Thank you for showing me that integrity still exists in this business. Continue building. Continue teaching. The world needs more people like you." I cried reading those words. Walter had believed in me when no one else did. He'd given me the chance to prove myself. His family asked me to continue managing the Havorson accounts. I agreed, honored by their trust. That night I stood on my balcony watching the city lights. I thought about everyone who'd been part of my journey: Robert, Walter, Lisa, Jordan, even Caleb and Victoria. Each person had taught me something, about resilience, about forgiveness, about the difference between success and significance. I'd started with nothing but my skills and my integrity. I'd built an empire that reflected my values. And I'd done it without compromising who I was. The wind carried away old memories, old pain. What remained was peace, deep, lasting, earned. 5 years after Robert's death, I stood in my office, now occupying an entire floor of a downtown building. Awards lined the walls, not for wealth, but for ethical business practices, mentorship, community service. Lisa was now a partner. Jordan ran his own department. We'd built something beautiful together. One morning, a young woman named Sarah came for an interview. She'd been laid off unfairly from her previous firm, her ideas stolen by her boss. I saw myself in her eyes, the hurt, the determination, the fear of starting over. "Tell me about your ideas," I said gently. She hesitated, then spoke passionately about ethical investment strategies for mid-size companies. Her vision was brilliant. I hired her on the spot. "Everyone deserves a second chance," I told her, "and sometimes what feels like an ending is really just a new beginning." Her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Mrs. Coleman." "Call me Margaret," I smiled, "and welcome to the team." As she left, I thought about my own journey, from widow cut from a will to CEO of a thriving firm, from betrayed partner to respected leader. I hadn't inherited my husband's wealth, but I'd inherited something far more valuable: his wisdom, his integrity, his belief that character matters more than capital. And that inheritance could never be taken away. Today, I sit in my garden, the same roses blooming brighter than ever. My firm runs smoothly without me micromanaging. I've built a team I trust completely. Coleman Strategies isn't just a company anymore. It's a legacy, one built on honesty, hard work, and refusing to let betrayal define me. I still think about Robert sometimes, about the life we built together, about the pain of losing him, then losing everything else. But I also think about what I gained: self-respect, independence,